The One-Year Bible, the Living Bible paraphrased, January 5th. At that time, all mankind spoke a single language. As the population grew and spread eastward, a plain was discovered in the land of Babylon and was soon thickly populated. The people who lived there began to talk about building a great city with a temple tower reaching to the skies, a proud, eternal monument to themselves. This will wield us together, they said, keep us from scattering all over the world. So they made great piles of hard-burned brick and collected bitumen to use as mortar. But when God came down to see the city and the tower mankind was making, he said, "Look, if they are able to accomplish all this when they have just begun to exploit their linguistic and political unity, just think of what they will do later. Nothing will be unattainable for them. Come, let us go down and give them different languages, so that they won't understand each other's words." So, in that way, God scattered them all over the earth, and that ended the building of the city. That is why the city was called Babel, meaning confusion, because it was there that Jehovah confused them by giving them many languages, thus widely scattering them across the face of the earth. Shem's line of descendants included Arphaxad, born 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old. After that he lived another 500 years, and had many sons and daughters. When Arphaxad was 35 years old, his son Shelah was born, and after that he lived another 403 years, and had many sons and daughters. Shelah was 30 years old when his son Eber was born, living 403 years after that, and had many sons and daughters. Eber was 34 years old when his son Peleg was born. He lived another 430 years afterwards, and had many sons and daughters. Peleg was 30 years old when his son Reu was born. He lived another 209 years afterwards, and had many sons and daughters. Reu was 32 years old when Sherug was born. He lived 207 years after that, with many sons and daughters. Sherug was 30 years old when his son Nahor was born. He lived 200 years afterwards, with many sons and daughters. Nahor was 29 years old at the birth of his son Terah. He lived 119 years afterwards and had sons and daughters. By the time Terah was 70 years old, he had three sons, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran had a son named Lot, but Haran died young in the land where he was born, in Ur of the Chaldeans, and was survived by his father. Meanwhile Abram married his half-sister Sarai, while his brother Nahor married their orphan niece Milcah, who was the daughter of their brother Haran, and she had a sister named Iscah. But Sarai was barren; she had no children. Then Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, his son Haran's child, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, and left Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. But they stopped instead at the city of Haran, and settled there. And there Terah died at the age of 205. God had told Abram, "Leave your own country behind you, and your own people, and go to the land I will guide you to. If you do, I will cause you to become the father of a great nation. I will bless you and make your name famous, and you will be a blessing to many others. I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you, and the entire world will be blessed because of you." So Abram departed as the Lord had instructed him, and Lot went too. Abram was 75 years old at that time. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all his wealth, the cattle and slaves he had gotten in Haran, and finally arrived in Canaan. Traveling through Canaan, they came to a place near Shechem and set up camp beside the oak at Morah. This area was inhabited by Canaanites at that time. Then Jehovah appeared to Abram and said, I am going to give this land to your descendants. And Abram built an altar there to commemorate Jehovah's visit. Afterwards, Abram left that place and traveled southward to the hilly country between Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he made camp and made an altar to the Lord and prayed to him. Thus he continued slowly southward to the Negeb, pausing frequently. There was at that time a terrible famine in the land, and so Abram went on down to Egypt to live. But as he was approaching the borders of Egypt, he asked Sarai his wife to tell everyone that she was his sister. You are very beautiful, he told her, and when the Egyptians see you they will say, this is his wife, let's kill him, and then we can have her. But if you say you are my sister, then the Egyptians will treat me well because of you, and spare my life. And sure enough, when they arrived in Egypt, everyone spoke of her beauty. When the palace aides saw her, they praised her to their king, the Pharaoh. She was taken into his harem. Then Pharaoh gave Abram many gifts because of her, sheep, oxen, donkeys, men and women slaves, and camels. But the Lord sent a terrible plague upon Pharaoh's household on account of her being there. Then Pharaoh called Abram before him and accused him sharply. What is this you have done to me? He demanded. Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why were you willing to let me marry her, saying she was your sister? Here, take her and be gone. And Pharaoh sent them out of the country under armed escort, Abram, his wife, and all his household and possessions. So they left Egypt and traveled north into the Negeb, Abram with his wife and Lot and all that they owned, for Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. Then they continued northward toward Bethel, where he had camped before, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had built the altar, and there he again worshipped the Lord. Matthew chapter 5 verses 1 through 26. One day as the crowds were gathering, he, Jesus, went up the hillside with his disciples and sat down and taught them there. Humble men are very fortunate, he told them, for the kingdom of heaven is given to them. Those who mourn are fortunate, for they shall be comforted. The meek and lowly are fortunate, for the whole wide world belongs to them. Happy are those who long to be just and good, for they shall be completely satisfied. Happy are the kind and merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. Happy are those whose hearts are pure, for they shall see God. Happy are those who strive for peace, they shall be called the sons of God. Happy are those who are persecuted because they are good, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. When you are reviled and persecuted and lied about because you are my followers, wonderful. Be happy about it, be very glad, for a tremendous reward awaits you up in heaven. And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted too. You are the world's seasoning to make it tolerable. If you lose your flavor, what will happen to the world? And you yourselves will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. You are the world's light, a city on a hill, glowing in the night for all to see. Don't hide your light. Let it shine for all. Let your good deeds glow for all to see, so that they will praise your heavenly Father. Don't misunderstand why I have come. It isn't to cancel the law of Moses and the warnings of the prophets. No, I came to fulfill them and to make them all come true. With all the earnestness I have, I say, every law in the book will continue until its purpose is achieved. And so, if anyone breaks the least commandment and teaches others to, he shall be least in the kingdom of heaven. But those who teach God's laws and obey them shall be great in the kingdom of heaven. But I warn you, unless your goodness is greater than that of the Pharisees and other Jewish leaders, you can't get into the kingdom of heaven at all. Under the laws of Moses, the rule was, if you murder, you must die. But I have added to that rule and tell you that if you are only angry, even in your own home, you are in danger of judgment. If you call your friend an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse him, you are in danger of the fires of hell. So, if you are standing before the altar in the temple, offering a sacrifice to God, and suddenly remember that a friend has something against you, leave your sacrifice there beside the altar and go and apologize, and be reconciled to him, and then come and offer your sacrifice to God. Come to terms quickly with your enemy before it is too late. He drags you into court, and you are thrown into a debtor's cell, for you will stay there until you have paid the last penny. Psalm 5 verses 1 through 12. O Lord, hear me praying. Listen to my plea, O God, my King, for I will never pray to anyone but you. Each morning I will look to you in heaven and lay my requests before you, praying earnestly. I know you get no pleasure from the wickedness. I know you get no pleasure from wickedness and cannot tolerate the slightest sin. Therefore, proud sinners will not survive your searching gaze, for how you hate their evil deeds. You will destroy them for their lies, how you abhor all murder and deception. But as for me, I will come into your temple protected by your mercy and your love. I will worship you with deepest awe. Lord, lead me as you promised me you would. Otherwise, my enemies will conquer me. Tell me clearly what to do, which way to turn. They cannot speak one truthful word. Their hearts are filled to the brim with wickedness. Their suggestions are full of the stench of sin and death. Their tongues are filled with flatteries to gain their wicked ends. O God, hold them responsible. Catch them in their own traps. Let them fall beneath the weight of their own transgressions, for they rebel against you. But make everyone rejoice who puts his trust in you. Keep them shouting for joy because you are defending them. Fill all who love you with your happiness, for you bless the godly man, O Lord. You protect him with your shield of love. Proverbs chapter 1 verses 24 through 28. I have called you so often, but still you won't come. I have pleaded, but all in vain, for you have spurned my counsel and reproof. Some day you will be in trouble and I'll laugh. Mock me, will you? I'll mock you. When a storm of terror surrounds you, and when you are engulfed by anguish and distress, then I will not answer your cry for help. It will be too late, though you search for me ever so anxiously.